हेलो। Ananya, are you able to hear? Is my voice audible? Always? Please unmute yourself and can anyone speak?
Yes, sir, audible.
Audible. May I know your sweet name?
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Yeah.
Bhargav.
Okay. Very good morning, all. I'm going to handle this semester the subject Unix programming. That is, the subject code is 18CS56. And I think my introduction is not required. You have seen me in the last semester also, but only 2 to 3 classes you have handled. CIP, I think. In this Unix programming, what is the major change what they have done is previously what they used to do is they used to keep two subjects for engineering students. One is Unix shell programming and one more is Unix system programming. Later stages when the scheme has changed, they have merged both the subjects from Unix shell and system, and they are going to call this time it is just a Unix programming. So in this Unix programming, you are going to discuss about the shell part. What is shell in one subject which is shell programming. Those things we are going to discuss in the module 1, module 2. These two modules, they are very much related to shell. Unix system programming, that will comes under the module 3, module 4 and module 5. And for this time, they have kept 3 textbooks. One will be very old textbook, Sumita Badas, which is 4th edition. One more is advanced programming. The first textbook is for shell, Unix shell programming. This is the Unix concepts and application. The next one is this advanced programming. Here it is the Unix system programming. And also one more Unix system programming is Terranstan, which is very old book. They have kept the syllabus of these 3 textbooks. Major is from the first 2, Sumita Bidas and Stevens. First module and second module, which will comes under the textbook 1, module 1 and module 2. The module 3, 4, 5, it will be covered from textbook 2 and 3. These things you have to note. And what is the major doubt is what is this Unix? We have heard the name Linux, but here the name Unix, it is something different. This Unix is which was developed during 1960s. Previously, when the computer was introduced, then they are searching for the softwares because to interact with the hardware. They have come up with the batch processing system. In the 1960s, there were batch processing system. Batch processing is nothing but as a single user is to perform some 3 to 4 tasks. In that case, what he is to do is to create a batch. In that example, first one is the calculation or the multiplication, any arithmetic operations, and one more other operations. In the same way, those operation one by one, they are going to collect it, and they are going to call it as a batch. That batch they are going to run, and once that execution of all the tasks were completed, they are going to get the result of each task. In between, once the task one is completed, they are not going to get the result. Immediate feedback was not there. If there are 10 tasks, once the execution of all the 10 tasks are completed, you will get the result of 10 tasks. That those 10 tasks, we are going to call it as a batch. The operating system was like that in the 1960s, batch processing system. A single user, if he wants the result of that particular task, he has to wait for other 9 task execution. Therefore, batch processing was time consuming. That is why they have come up with the multitasking, multi-programming, multi-user operating system that is called as this Unix. I'm audible? Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. In the 1969, they have come up with this Unix operating system. What is this later stage? What we are seeing, the operating system, which is called as a Linux, the same features, the same program they have carried from the Unix, and also they have added extra programs with that. The flavors of the Unix is carried in the Linux, and also extra functionalities and extra libraries they have added, and they have come up with the Linux. Linux is not totally different from the Unix. Major flavors they have carried, major flavors they have carried from the Unix to the Linux, and also extra is there. The Linux is an open source. Anyone can take the program, you can modify anything you can do. Basically, in the Unix, we'll start with the shell programming itself. Later, then we can continue our discussion. We'll start with the module 1, which is shell programming. As you all know, what is the role of the operating system? The operating system, it is a system software. As a user, I want to interact with the hardware. Some operations, some calculations I have to do. In that case, what I will do? I have developed one software. The software which interacts with the hardware, then we call it as a system software. The software which interacts with the system software, operating system software, then we are going to call it as an application software. 1 minute. Sorry for the disturbance. This operating system, what it does is, it is going to interact with the resources. So many tasks it is going to do. To allocate the computer resources, it is going to schedule the tasks what we are going to run, and it acts as an interface between the user and the hardware. It gives a platform for the application softwares, means any softwares. Example, the Zoom what I am running, any browser which I am going to run, Microsoft Office, PDF, Acrobat Reader, all these are called as an application software. In order to run that as a basement operating system is required. This is an operating system, and they have come up with the idea. Now they want to develop a multitask, multi-programming operating system. Before to this Unix, there was a batch processing operating system. I guess that what is the meaning of batch processing is clear. Batch processing is nothing but so many tasks we are going to group and we are going to call it as a batch. Then we are going to run that batch. We'll get the result of all the tasks which was scheduled. The problem with this batch is immediate feedback is not there. Immediate feedback means task 1 result you are not going to get. Task 5 result you are not going to get. Once all the 10 tasks are executed, you will get the result of all the tasks. That is why we went for the Unix operating system, which is a multitasking, multi-user operating system. Where it was developed at AT&T Bell Laboratories. Who is the author? This Ken Thompson. Remember this name, Ken Thompson. In the AT&T Bell Laboratories, he have come up with this operating system. Usually, basically, when they have started developing, they have think how to interact with how the user will interact with the operating system. They have come up with the idea of using the commands. The user will enter the commands, then the operating system has to give the response. That was the basic idea. And if there are multiple if there are multiple functionalities are there, if you want multiple results, then concat the commands, and then using some special functionalities are there, pipes, then you will get the result of the multiple functions. That was the basic idea when they have introduced this Unix operating system. In the 1969, there was a programming language called Programmed Data Processor, PDP. PDP, so many versions are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is called as a PDP, Programmed Data Processor. It was a program, but when you develop any software using that, it will be a machine dependent. Example, if I develop Unix operating system, since I am using the Lenovo hardware, that Unix operating system, it is completely only to run in my system, this Lenovo laptop, machine dependent. If you want to run in another operating system, you cannot carry this software. You have to do some changes. And once again, there you have to install the operating system. That is why PDP programming language, it is a program machine dependent. The first versions, when they have developed in the 1969, it was a machine dependent. In only in that system you can execute. If you want to execute in another system, in an operating system, you cannot carry. Once again, major changes you have to do, machine configurations you have to add, all those things, and then you have to run your task. Then what the author has done is the Ken Thompson. There was a Dennis Ritchie, the developer of C program. He done the meeting with that person in the 1973, and they have decided to develop the entire Unix operating system using the C language, which has done a major change, and we can call this operating system as portable. Means you can carry this operating system and you can run it in another machine. Remember, Unix, it is programmed using C programming language. What is the languages that you have learned in the first semester? It is just a 20 to 30% what you have seen. The C programming language is very huge. It has so many libraries. Those libraries you have not included. Basically, we have used some standard libraries, input, output, string functions, some file libraries. But still, there are so many graphic libraries are there, operating system libraries, database operation library. There are so many libraries are there. That is why I said you have just seen only 20 to 30% of C programming language in the first year. And this C, the operating system, Unix operating system, they have developed using the C programming language means how strong the C is. Remember that. In the 1973, they have moved from PDP to C, which has made the Unix operating system portable. exactly what in the operating system, how it looks, how they are going to develop, what it contains. That is the main thing. See here, you can see the picture here, Unix architecture. See what it contains is inner part, inner circle, which you see it is a hardware. Usually, you know the hardware resources that is in the inner. The program which interacts with the hardware or the program which interacts with the other application program in the Unix or in the Linux, we call it as a kernel. A software, remember the word, a program or the software that interacts with the hardware or which interacts with the other application programs, that we are going to call it as a kernel. Sometimes they call this kernel as a Linux kernel with the name Linux kernel. That is the meaning of that kernel. Unix means kernel. In that way, you can remember it is a heart of the Unix architecture or the operating system kernel. Without kernel, you cannot interact with the hardware. This other outside, you see some other application programs. Other application programs is any other softwares what you install, what you run on the operating system. Just now I said Microsoft Word, uh, Office, PDF reader, any text manipulation documents, any editors, that we call it as an other application programs. How they are going to interact with the kernel? These are the commands. See, in the Unix, it is a commands. With the commands, we are going to interact. Even I'm going to show in the next classes how to execute the commands, how it is going to give a response for each command, that we can see in the later class. And also in your home, what you can do is you can install the virtual machine, VMware. In that, you can keep any Unix operating system, Linux operating system, Red Hat, Ubuntu, uh, anything, Fedora, any operating system, and you can practice the commands. This subject you can remember easily. It is just through the execution itself, because the questions will be like that. What is the output of the command data? What is the output of the command grip or VI? Cannot easily remember the outputs of all the commands. That is why you have to practice. How you can practice? It is just using the operating system. Just install the operating system, Linux, any Linux flavor, Red Hat, Fedora, Ubuntu, CentOS, anything. You can open the shell there, and then the console you can open, and then you can execute the programs. You can see the output. What you see there, that you can exactly write it as an output in the test or in the exam or anywhere. See, this is what the Unix architecture. What it contains, there is a kernel, there is a shell, graphical user interface is also there. In the, you have seen, right? Graphical user interface in the Linux. And the main four components are these things. See here how it looks, the components of Unix. The user is going to interact with the shell. The shell is a separate program. Shell is a separate program where you give the commands to the shell. The role of the shell is to use the utilities and application programs that interacts with the kernel. That kernel will interact with the any other hardware, and finally it will give back you the result. As a user, you interact with the shell. Remember, shell is one separate program. There are so many different types of shells are there. C shell, bash shell. They are all separate programs. Remember, separate programs, if I say, means there will be a set of instructions inside that. Finally, the computer in the hardware, who is going to interact? That is the kernel. As a user, we interact with the shell. Shell using the utilities, libraries, any other application program that interacts with the kernel. Kernel knows how to interact with the hardware. Major things or the major components what we see here is this kernel. One is kernel, then is the this shell and the graphical user interface. One more is this file and processes, and one more is system calls and utilities. Main four things we have to understand before we move to the features of Unix. What exactly it contains in the Unix is these four. Kernel. Multiple times we use the word this kernel. What is this kernel? We say there will be a process, there is a files, there is a shell, and there is a graphical user interface. There is a system calls. We use this word repeatedly. That is why these terminologies, one line answer you should remember. If I say one word, kernel means which is a low level program. Low level program means assembly language program, which is not easy to remember. That is why it is called as a low level program, where it acts as an intermediary. It acts as an intermediary between directly the shell or the application or the user programs. There will be a shell in between the user and the kernel. You cannot directly interact with the kernel because we don't know how to interact with the kernel. Those programming that will be done in the shell part, that will come up directly with the when you install the operating system itself. That is why kernel is a very low level program, assembly language program. It knows how to interact with the hardware. It can be CPU, RAM, disk, network, anything. And all the kernel, the Linux kernel, the device driver support will be there because you have so many different types of hardwares are installed. All those supporting programs, everything is being installed, or programs by default it will be there inside the kernel. That is why whenever you open the cabinet and you place the network card, and just in the operating system you boot the operating system and check the configuration, your kernel is able to identify that network card or the graphics card what you keep. How exactly it is going to identify that? Already in the Linux kernel there are some programs which is called as a device drivers. Device driver is nothing but that is that card dependent, that hardware dependent softwares. For graphics card, there will be a separate software. For audio system, there is a separate software. For a network, there is a separate software. For the hard disk, there is a separate software. All those softwares, they are going to call it as a device drivers. All those device drivers, everything it will be come up with the kernel itself. And what is being programmed is it can do input output management. Input output means whatever the user send the information, what is being calculated, it has to be shown to the user. That is the output. This management, process management means any task which I run, that will be converted into the each process. I think you have studied the operating system and you know what is the meaning of a process. A program in the execution, the snapshot, the time snapshot, at any time if you take the snapshot, that we call it as a process. Device management. Even though if you connect 100 devices, it is going to able to identify if you interact with the 8th device or the 50th device, it is able to identify and it gives the response. How? All those things it has been programmed. That is the device management. File management is whatever we store, everything we are going to store it in a file. File is nothing but an array of bytes. An array of bytes that we are going to call it as a file. There will be hierarchy. File metadata will be there. File type, file owner, file size, file created date, file modification date. File related information that we are going to call it as a metadata. Everything who is going to manage, the kernel is going to manage. And one more is memory management, which is called as a memory. The RAM, what we connect, that we are going to call it as primary memory, secondary memory. It is going to manage. See, these are all the things the kernel is going to do. We don't need to program anything. This, it will come by with the operating system itself. I assure that there is no doubt in the kernel. Do you have any doubts? Anyone, if you have any doubts about the kernel, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Sir, I have not understand one line of kernel. If you know, just it is an assembly language program, and this program, it is going to interact with the hardware. It is enough. Remember that kernel. Next. The next is the shell. The shell is nothing but, as I said, we are not going to interact with the kernel. We are going to directly interact with the shell. See, for that, what they have done is they have designed a program and they have given us the interface where the shell is nothing but it is an environment. In that environment, what we do is we enter the commands. If there is any mistakes, it will automatically it will throw there itself. If you want to run 10 commands at a batch, if you run, if there is any mistake in the second command or the third command, the execution stop there itself. It will not execute the other remaining commands. It will throw the error that in the third command there is an error. Example, just I was saying, if you run 10 commands at a time, and if there is a mistake at the third command, the execution will stop at the third command and it will throw the error. That is why we are going to call it as a command interpreter. What is this? The meaning of interpreter is, as and when you enter, it is going to give us the response. Enter the commands, get the response. Enter the command, get the response. It is not like the C programming language. Write all the instructions, give the errors of all the lines. If there is any mistakes at the 10th line, 15th line, 20th line, it will give the errors at that specific lines. That is a compiled language, compiler. Here, the shell is an interpreter. Remember, the word interpreter is nothing but if you write 10 instructions, even though if there is an error at the 9th instruction and 10th instruction, if there is an error in the second instruction, it will just show the error for second. First correct that. Once again you run, it will show the error at the 9th. It will not show it for the 10th. Correct it. And then the 10th. The line by line execution, it will give the response for each instruction. Then it is called as an interpreter. The shell is designed like that. Shell is an command interpreter, where the user can enter the commands and they can see the result in that terminal. Or else you can run the scripts which contain so many commands. In that way also it is going to support shell. Shell is, remember one word, it is an interface between the normal user and the kernel. Kernel, which is an interface between the shell and the hardware resource. And you know the graphical user interface. Linux operating system, it is not only the commands you enter directly just by clicking the icons, you can use the operating system. That is why it is called as graphical user interface. Do you have any doubts in the meaning of shell and Linux? Sorry, kernel. If you have any doubts, the meaning of the word shell and the kernel, then we can move to the next topics. Because which is a basic part, Without knowing the meaning of kernel and the shell, you should not go to the next topics. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Anyone, you can unmute yourself and you can ask, or you can raise your hand in the chat box. If you don't have any doubts, then we'll continue the next files and process the system calls in the next class. Meanwhile, you install the VMware and install the Linux operating system inside the VM, because you can see the outputs of the commands parallelly or once the class is over. Now to mark the attendance, everyone send your name followed by USN in the chat box. Everyone, don't miss the classes. If you miss the classes, terminologies or the basics you are not going to understand. If you have any doubts, you have the WhatsApp number with the CR. You can directly chat in the WhatsApp, or anytime you can contact. If you have sent the attendance, then you can exit. If you have sent the attendance, you can exit.